Alrighty, YouTube, what is going on? Hope you guys watched our last video recapping the week. It is still Friday technically, but we want to get this out and get this done now before we, gallivanter off. We got a busy day of traveling next week with me and Huddy, so we're getting this watch list done now. Going to talk a lot about the same tickers that we mentioned in the recap video, but more so talking about where we think they're going and what they're possibly shaping up to. Now, the first couple of tickers that I want to mention that were not mentioned in the recap video is this theme of Bitcoin Treasury plays is just still alive and well. I think if you've traded small caps enough, or in the markets enough, really, we've always had these trends, right? If you were trading in the dot-com boom 25 years ago, anyone that put .com to their name, stocks ramped, hundreds of percent. If you were in COVID and you said, I'm coming out with a vaccine, or I'm going to, apply to make a vaccine, you went up hundreds of percent. Right now, this is a theme where companies are coming out and saying that they want to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet, right? They're becoming Bitcoin treasury plays where instead of holding cash, they're going to hold Bitcoin or have a business model to acquire more Bitcoin. And a lot of these themes can last longer than you think. And this one, I think, is entering people's minds of something that just is not going away and might not go anyway anytime soon. I think we're on like month 3 now, and like probably 30 or 40 plus of these companies that are doing this that have popped up in the last 2 or 3 months. So let's just talk about a few of them that are recently been running this week. TSWCF is an OTC. I think it's based out of Canada, only because it's got an F ticker, but there are some other tickers in other countries that are not Canada that do have an F ticker. But this one has recently purchased Bitcoin, right? And so now we've gone from 1, we tapped 9 today, which is insane, the level of upside you can get if anyone's willing to swing these and be patient. The problem is we can go with some other charts, but some are not so much holding up near their highs. Some are right back down where they started. But this one's on watch for me just because the higher this goes, the more volatility that's here, the more opportunity that's going to present itself, whether it's a blow off top and first red day short, whether it's a huge panic and then bounce day or reversal day. I just want to keep my eyes on this one for the reason of how volatile it is. This one reminds me of MTPLF, right? If you were around here back in May, right? This had a massive move from 4s to 16, big pullback, some big bounces, a lot of gaps. Obviously, this one is in Japan, even though it's an F ticker, right? It's not in Canada, it's Japan. But again, also a Bitcoin treasury play. This one owns 10,000 Bitcoin or so. So they're here to stay. SRM was another one today that broke out, and so naturally going on the watch list for next week of if this breakout continues, if it fails, whatever the case may be. But this is another. I don't know if it's Bitcoin. I think it's another crypto. Tron. Yeah. So it's not even Bitcoin, but it is a crypto treasury play nonetheless. Is there any other ones on your guys' watch list that you have? I know there's 30 plus, so it's not like you have to watch them all. You drive yourself mad, but ASST was one. I don't think that's back down. So it's you can't hold them forever because they will do their thing. SEP was the one that started it all in April. That's also just chopping around in the 30s. So it's really more which ones are hot currently. But again, there's always going to be maybe some next week that pop up with a new PR. Again, SRM just randomly said, yeah, we're gonna buy Tron, and so here it goes, right? I think EYEN did Hyperliquid, another altcoin. That's not held up as well, but certainly had a huge spike from 3 to 7. So just a trend. Again, you could pick whatever tickers you specifically want to keep on watch, but just to keep a note as a general theme of the watch list, these crypto plays are here to stay and do their thing. But anyways, let's talk about the large caps. I think all of us or most of us are still long CRWV. Do we have any different thoughts there, boys, going into next week on this?
Not really a ton of thoughts at this point. It is a confirmed breakout over that 165, 166 area. This is something I think we've started to do more of, not necessarily the big picture, long-term swing and trailing that Kyle's been doing a lot of, but even just on these bigger breakouts, I think of Pony, even swing and Tesla recently. Just being more patient with them, letting them do some more funky things because we've known that they can have different styles of run-ups versus a lot of the small caps we look at, or even the OTCs of 10 years ago, where it was a lot of if the stock goes red, you take it off, or if it breaks the previous day's, afternoon support, we take it off. And just knowing that these bigger caps can be more volatile, can be more choppy, even while they're still on a front side move. So just being aware of that, moving risk slowly, but still keeping it wide enough to stay in the trade. Uh, it's, we're what, 3 days into this breakout now. I've been holding since Tuesday. At this point, just moving my risk up slowly, kind of hoping for this continued trend of not breaking the previous day's lows. And maybe at one point we get a blow off into the 190s, $200 area. So at this point, it's not really a lot of thinking left. It's more of like, am I taking this off when it kind of fails and confirms backside? Or do I have some sort of price target in mind, or waiting for some sort of, trailing stop or some sort of specific action to get me out? But going into next week, that's kind of the play here. I'm kind of late to this move, as we talked about in the recent video, where the big move has kind of come and gone from the 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up into the hundreds. But sometimes what we will see is kind of that blow off top. You saw it with CRCL, which maybe isn't even done with that blow off top. You've seen it with SMCI in years past, MSTR for different reasons. And sometimes they go further than you think. And so being late isn't necessarily that late. So I just want to be in this trade until it kind of confirms failure, which has been wide risk for me on that one.
Yeah, totally. I like what you said there. Like, you may think you're late, but then you're not. But it's a fine and but it's a good thought to have, because it's like someone might say, oh well, Dom and Kyle said you're never too late, and then you buy the top, right? So it's like you never know. But yeah, in terms of just literally the last year or so, we have seen some runs that just keep on going. I mean, you just can't. You never know. You can't. If we could predict the top, we would, and we'd be billionaires, right? If we could, but we can't. And so they just keep on going. So as long as we keep using our skills to read price action and trying to just predict as we go or in real time, like that's the best we can do. And so far, these just don't seem to be slowing down. Because CRWV, like right, you said, choppier but still breaking out. CRCL is the next hot watch, I think, for next week. Only because this one's a bit more, I would say, violent in a shorter period of time, right? Because CRWV has gone from the 40s to 180, but has done it over practically 2 months now, right? CRCL, however, has done pretty much, call it 70 to 230 now, but has done it in like 2 weeks. So a bit more extended in a much shorter period of time. And as we're making this video, I actually was short some. I just covered some because it's just not dying. Thankfully, I'm small green from today. But you look at a daily chart like this. I mean, this, maybe this fails here. Maybe this was just a fake out new high day. I have no idea. We'll see how it looks at the actual close of the day. But again, the higher this goes, whether it's through 250, 270, 300, 400, I have no idea. But eventually, if this run keeps blowing off parabolic like this on a daily look, and it's hard to tell because it's so spread, it's so pull the wide versus maybe if I do this, let me pull up do this on this is what I like about Thinkorswim, because you can actually see how it's different chart, see how much more extended this looks than this, right? But if this keeps going, large cap or not, I have to approach it like a possible first red day. Very similar to a look of like the large caps that we've seen, MSTR, like Dom said, SMCI, right? And so the higher this goes, the more eager I am for that kind of idea. I mean, even now, it could close up here at 230, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but on Monday, I would have to be open to the possibility. I wouldn't like it. I would like it for it to keep running, obviously. But I would have to be open for the idea that, hey, this is overblown enough to have some kind of cool down day. And so that's going to be on the watch list as well. Only other things I have are some of the other breakouts that I'm in. I am in SMCI, actually, considering we talked about it. I did buy this breakout, what is it, on a Wednesday, right? So Wednesday, Thursday, I have off for today's Friday. So still swinging this one. Swinging a lot of things. I'm still in Hood, right? I'm still in SMR, but I might not be by the end of the day. This is kind of weak. But the point is, I got A-Lab, but this is also weak, right? So those who've been following along with my swings in the chat, I am still in plenty, but we'll see. The markets, like I said, the markets are rolling over, and the more they roll over, the more likely those swings I have will roll over. Hence, I will be stopping out of those if those still do follow the markets. So that's pretty much it for me. We'll see. But again, also note is that next week, like I mentioned, Huddy and I will be traveling, and I will be specifically traveling for my honeymoon. So the swings are really the only ones maybe I'll be able to consistently stay in, because the first week next week will be true vacation-esque, where I will do my best to not look at the market at all. Granted, if CRCL does do something insane like 250, 300, then I'm going to have to be like, hey, pause on the honeymoon real quick. Let me pay for the honeymoon and then come back. So, but for the most part, as the default next week, I will be pretty much MIA. But the swings and everything we just talked about is what I will be watching, whether I'm there or not, kind of thing, or what I would be watching. So, anyways, anything to add there, Huddy? Sorry, me and Dom kind of chatted there a bit for a while.
Yeah, I mean, my main watch and only watch really into next week is CRCL. I think that one is far and beyond any type. Like, I think if there's like a Super Bowl of patterns, CRCL is setting up for it. So, I want to keep my mind as mentally fresh as possible. I want it to get as good as possible to really come into my wheelhouse, and then I just want to be prepared to attack it. I've already kind of mapped out all three scenarios as to which I would attack it, given what it does in the next 2 days at Clover Trading on our watch list. And so that's the main stock I'm watching, and everything else is just child's play relative to what this can be. So that's what I'm watching for, and I got half an eye on everything else you guys mentioned for the most part, but no intentions on everything, just intentions on Circle.
Yeah, yeah. And you'll notice that the one thing I'll mention to the viewers there, like you'll notice that Huddy just said like what he just said, which is like everything's out there, and he agrees with everything Dom and I said, but like there's only one thing that has focus, which is Circle. And the same thing, if you don't know if you picked up when I said, it's like I am planning on taking off next week, but if Circle, goes nuts, I have to kind of, it's almost like a coming out of retirement thing. Like I have to step away from the vacation. So clearly, like this is the stock to watch, right? Whether you have a pattern here or not, I think it's just a very good learning experience for even beginning traders, because this could set up to something very, monumental, or just an opportunity that you want to learn from, right? One of my IPO learning opportunities was with Tilray back in, what's it, 2018? Go back, way back, 20, yeah,
Back at the
right?
dawn of time.
Right, I didn't trade it, right? I was too new to really understand what was going on, so I was just watching it. But this will forever stick in my mind, just how insane. Again, like me and Don mentioned, things can just keep going. You just never know how high they end up going. This one from 30 to 300 in practically a month and a half, right? Just insane. And so these hot IPOs, whether it is CRWV or it's CRCL, we are just in that. There we go. We are just in that period of insane volatility, insane upside on some of these hot IPO companies. And so that's the hot ticker to watch, right? If there's anything else, if you want to narrow your focus, this is where at least we are narrowing our focus. So, anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully this video helps you prep for the trading next week. And yeah, best of luck to everybody. Peace out.
Bye.